Tonight's guest was Justin Veal of Justin and Tab Music, and let me just tell you, dude can sing. He sat down with us the other night, and we just had a genuine conversation about what it takes to try to build a musical career, run a regular career, raise a regular family, and all the stuff that goes along with that. So all the stuff that we generally talk about. And unfortunately, Tab of Justin and Tab Music was unable to join us, and so it probably actually took a little bit different turn than what I had expected. I was going to really dig deep into what it takes to make music as a family and the husband and wife duo, and we're just going to have to do that another day. This one took a True Fancy's Unfiltered detour. We highlighted their musical career. We highlighted what they had coming up, some songs they're fixing to have release, all that cool stuff. But then it's a bunch of dudes, and so we ended up going down some rabbit holes. But you know what? I'm finding out that people sometimes enjoy the rabbit holes. So here we go. Justin and Tab Music minus Tab, rabbit holes, and a little bit of singing. This is Fancy's Unfiltered.
Well, as a mom and dad, we got 4 kids, so all the kids were at home with me today, and Tab gets off work about, I guess it was about 5:50, and she gets home, and the littlest one, the 2-year-old, hasn't seen Mama all day, so yeah, I got home and a little bit just snuggled up with Mama, and that was it. It was like, nope, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. And that tends to happen, and I figured that was probably something that we could probably talk about if both of you had been here, because I assume that that's something that y'all deal with on the regular or potentially.
Very, very often. It is a constant battle, but we have a very, very good support system with family and friends that really help us out a lot when we are out playing, and just in general, just as doing trying to live the American dream the best way we know how.
Yeah, something like that. So how long y'all been playing the music together?
I've been playing actually for God, 30 years, but I mean out live, semi-professionally live. Right. I started playing out in Chattanooga when I was probably 24, 25-ish, I think, 26-ish, and then played up there for a few years. Met Tab, well, went through. I was married previously, and
Been
then
there, done that.
And then we moved. I met Tab and got remarried. We moved down here, and we started doing music together. We started going to church together, doing music in church, and then we started actually performing out live, probably in 2020, which was like the worst time in the world to actually start doing music. But yeah, she convinced me to do Smith Lake talent contest, and we placed, and I got an opportunity to play at Ledger's because I won a songwriter contest there, and the manager at the time liked us so much that they, I invited Tab up to sing a couple of songs, and she said, well, why don't y'all just come back tomorrow night? And we just kind of said, okay, well, let's just go from there. And we just been performing together ever since.
Yeah. And that's, I think me and you had talked, well, we hadn't really got a chance to talk, but you've watched some of the stuff, and then you was commenting on the episode with Jesse, and it's kind of what we're trying to help do is give y'all a voice and kind of anything and everything that you could get help with, I'm sure is going to be appreciated. And if it's one or two more sets of eyeballs, that that's kind of what we're doing it for. Plus it's enjoyable for us. So.
Right. And it takes the social media space like this. I mean, this is the new era, right? It takes stuff like this we help each other out, right? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be the only way, like any people like us, unless we got millions and millions and millions of dollars, can, get whatever we're trying to get off the ground, I do believe. So.
Right. And that's, again, that is, sorry, I was turning you down just a smidge because I actually could hear you really well. That's actually what caused me to lose my train of thought.
Yeah, it happens. No, I was talking about the whole. That's kind of what we're doing. An extra set of eyes. It's just someone else for you to be able to come on here. It's just another place
Yeah.
for you to be able to put your stuff, quote unquote, promote it. But at the same time, it's, we're doing the same as well. It's
Yep.
because if you're out somewhere playing, God knows where, and someone says something about a podcast, you're like,
Yep.
hey, by the way,
There was these two fellers,
yeah,
Right.
ugly, but
still fellers.
still fellers.
They say, you can take our president right now, for example. Bad press is good press, right? All press is good press. Any type of promotion. I learned a long time ago, marketing is key. And this is just another form of marketing. And it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Like you said, I mean, it's the new era
Yep.
of promotion now with social media, on which they tried to ban TikTok, which I still don't think that it's completely out the air because I don't think it's fully been bought.
Let me tell y'all something. I don't know, and you may have known, but I damn sure didn't know that CapCut was owned by TikTok. Like I may have because they merged so well together. It makes sense, I guess. But and all of this crap about blocking and banning TikTok, never heard anything about CapCut.
Right.
Okay. I was out here editing stuff the other night on CapCut, doing my thing. My son had a spend a night party. I went in through the house. One was in the kitchen and one was in the living room with their VR headset swarping sticks, and they was doing whatever it was that they were doing. And one of the other kids, it was because they were both speakerphone, because that's the only way you can hear it. Those things are loud. Anyway, so they were doing whatever, and as I walked in, one of them said, "Did you hear they were banning TikTok and CapCut?" And I was like, I mean, they were talking amongst themselves. They wasn't talking to me. I just heard them. I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about, a bunch of 10-year-olds. I ain't banning CapCut. I'm out there working on it." So that was Saturday night. I worked on it again some Sunday. Left, went to do lunch, came back, worked on it a little bit more. Then my daughter came by. I went and visited her for a second. Anyway, long story short, I worked on it all day. I came back out here last night. It was about 8 o'clock. Logged on to finish. All I had to do was put Daniel Thomas below my big head, Curtis Miller below his big head, and Ryan below his big head. That's all I had left. But Madison came over and I went, "I'm going to go spend a minute." And I spent a minute and I come back out here and it was holding my stuff hostage.
Yep.
I couldn't get it. So I had to download a VPN and reroute my stuff through Switzerland and Sweden and then re-log back in so that it went, "Oh, you're from Sweden." And it let me in.
Yep.
And so I was able to finish what I had to do so that our episode would drop in 4 minutes.
Yeah,
The
when you
anxiety
snap,
is going to kill you, isn't it?
they're gonna watch it so bad.
We've never released one while doing one.
Right.
Normally, as soon as one releases, I'm out here making sure that everything is going. And
Well, he's
I've
making
spent-
sure everything's going while I'm jumping to every social media page, trying to share, like, comment, repost, send, and then I'm like, "Hey, this is messed up. This is what okay, I'm fixing it." And
we
now
hadn't
it's
had to do
like-
that in a long time, though.
Yeah.
As far as
well,
like
we've also been on
major
a break as
field
well.
bars, but so
That'll
yeah.
be technically that'll be the first episode of everybody being here. All
Yeah, no,
audio working.
I'm counting that as season 2, episode 1.
Yeah.
The one that I did with me and David and Jesse, I was counting that as a me, David, and Jesse. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, that was the kind of the.
And so
yeah.
so Ryan's, I'm gonna use this first.
So what do y'all think about in terms of y'all's growth you know, y'all been doing it a little while now.
So we put 11 out or 13 out.
I think we went back and forth between 11 and 12.
Anyway, y'all look it up. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was 11, 12, 13 episodes last season.
Mm-hmm.
And that number is from the first time we smashed go. And so about the first 1 through, if we did 11, I would say the first 1 through 11 had problems.
Mm-hmm.
If we did 13, to go ahead and bump that up by 2.
Basically all of them except for this past one, probably.
But it was a learning experience.
Sure.
I couldn't have, and I understand now. Everybody that I talked to ahead of time and said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing," said, "Well, just you're not going to be able to get it 100%. You never will. Just start."
Right.
And I was like, I don't do just start. Some things I do just start, but this was not one of them. But it did, and I thought we were good. And I said, "Oh yeah, this will be fine. This will get us going."
Man, that first episode,
Well, the first one's never even aired.
technically,
No, I still got that
yeah,
hidden.
it's
Yeah, it's.
we're gonna
We'll bring it out. We'll bring it out when we have our 10-year reunion or something.
It seems like when you dive into this world too, you know, you especially podcasting, same with music, when you dive into it, you realize, oh my God, I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this, and I need this. And
Look, there is. So we started with what you see, but it was attached to the iPad because a long time ago we did some stuff at work, and so oh yeah, well that works for what we did then, for what I wanted, and to actually be relevant with trying to say, hey y'all watch this, or hey y'all come sit on my couch, or I can't just throw stuff together. It kind of looks like it, but this is a lot of throw together.
right.
And, but it is what it is now. But so we couldn't have got to this point without that season, as much as it sucked and as much as I hated staring at it for, however long I would to edit it. I got really good at editing.
Right.
And then this year, hopefully now everything on the front side is fixed for the most part. That like I did his pretty much start to finish yesterday.
yeah. Versus having to take 6 days to.
Oh yeah, dude. The very first when we had Eric Michael Taylor sit here on the couch, he was our first big somebody that we don't know. Somebody like yourself that's done what you're doing and trying, and he had an album, and he's still no superstar, and he'll tell you that himself. But it's come on, and so I was super excited to have him on. He was going to be our first official whatever. That thing that you're wearing on your head, did not work. Well, that's a different one. That one's good, but the one that he wore, we ended up having a audio malfunction, and we had thrown the iPad away. Not literally, but we're not going to use that no more because it had issues the first few times. Well, then the audio interface that we was trying to use, the audio board that we were trying to use, refused to. It just wasn't working, man. So last minute said, "Here, wear this." Plugged it in. We'll be fine. No. It was not.
Zero audio.
No. It worked, but once again, iPad.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It glitched somehow. I couldn't get it off. You name it, it happened because we were trying to do. But again, through all that, we got to where we're at, and it looks pretty good now.
Oh yeah, it looks great. That's what I was going to compliment you guys on. I mean, I've been watching quite a few episodes, and I'm like, this looks great. And it's one of those things where, again, presentation is key, and this is a great presentation, and it looks great, sounds great, and that's what musicians like us. We want to sound good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
and to do this and to look like this is a great thing for the community going forward, for sure.
Yes.
especially
That makes me feel
for
warm
the
and
music
fuzzy.
For the musical community for sure, and everybody else. I mean, y'all can
Yeah.
get anybody on here,
Yep.
and that's
That's the hope. And I really, honestly, in all transparency, I feel like for me personally, oh, that shadow was killing me. I thought for some reason I was like, um, I can't do squirrels.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't work anymore, and I don't know if that's age or what, but maybe it's long COVID. Isn't that what Jesse always says? It's long COVID.
Yeah. Hey,
Some-
who knows what comes out of his mouth sometimes? I just
But
don't know if ever.
oh yes, sorry. So that's why in my personal preference, what I feel like I'm the most passionate about, what I know that even if anything and everything was to break or go bad, I could sit here and have a conversation with you and it be a genuine conversation.
right.
And y'all are in the same position to where that genuine conversation is welcome and needed, and it just helps everybody. So in full transparency, I figured that would be the easiest way to get people on that couch, like a revolving door,
Right.
to help us get the content, to then help us grow to where then it's even more attractive for y'all. It's just a vicious cycle.
It's right, and it's
But
and
that would have never happened unless it finally looked the way it's supposed to look.
And I think it's a reception of the community, right? You got to get, it's just part of growth. Get the community on board with it. Get everybody listening to it. Get everybody tuning in, and that comes with us being out there, like you said, talking about y'all talking about us, and that's just it. And community reception is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, in our game, I mean, I can't tell y'all how many shows we'll go out, and Coleman's a unique, it's an albatross, I guess. It's like one of those things where you go out and we love our fans, we adore our fans, and it's whack-a-mole. You throw a dart one night and people are at this venue, and then the next night they're at that venue. So, but I mean, for the most part, it seems that the community has really taken to Tab and I very, very well. We love the community. They've taken to Jesse very well, and the rest of us. I mean, we just love it. We love playing.
Well, I think, and we've talked about this on the last couple of episodes, and that's going to be the theme because that's who I am at the moment. So, but I think everybody is about searching for that authenticity, and that's. I think everybody in Coleman is enjoying the fact that we finally have something like a music scene, because we hadn't always had that.
Yeah.
And even though we've been wet for however many years it's been now, I don't remember how long it's been, but there was a couple of places that sprung up, when it first started, and of course they were super busy. But it's been going on long enough now that I feel like Coleman is finally starting to have a nightlife scene. Old folk, don't get upset. It still ends around 9:30, 10 o'clock. But it's something that adults can go and just relax and chill out and see something authentic and be a part of. Just, we didn't used to have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Around these parts.
I'll say this too: the venue owners too around here, man, they're great. I mean,
And I'm excited to
great.
start to get to know them.
Yeah, they're great. They're just great salt of earth people. Just, you couldn't ask for better. So
Yeah.
so I'd encourage any musician, just talk to them. Talk to them. You know what I mean?
Well, and again, that's from the business that I'm in. I'm used to everything being, how much is that worth?
Right.
How much is that worth? And this is going to cost this, and this is going to cost this, and you can't do that because this is going to cost this. You can't give that person a break, even though I'm not going to go super deep into that. But my point is, it's awesome to me to start to get my tippy toe in something like this community effort to grow and nurture and cultivate what I'm trying to get us involved in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's awesome that everybody helps everybody.
Yeah.
And I am so not accustomed to that.
Right.
And so that in itself is like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, to me, like the way I view this whole thing as, to a certain point, is I like to view it as, I mean, because I can kind of relate to it. Because a lot of people, I mean, like you with the music and stuff like that, or anyone starting, their business that we've had on, or this and that, it's like, it's also a stepping stone for them to be like, I mean, yeah, like I want to get out and do something like this and be able to, promote my stuff too. But, I mean, who would think, well, I could go be on a podcast and do it, I don't
Right.
want, like, and a lot of people that when we talk to them about trying to, get them on, hey, just come sit down, have fun with us. We'll talk about that. Well, I'm just not good at that. I just don't know if I'm comfortable with that. I'm like, this is as comfortable as you're going to get right here.
Right.
I mean, if you can't handle this, what you trying to do and accomplish and going on, it's going to be a lot damn harder than what this right here is.
That's right. It's the Joe Rogan effect. I mean, it's this free form kind of open conversation, just like you're talking to your buddies. And
Yeah.
I mean, the more of that we have, I think to be quite honest, you see what the country's been like the last 4 years because everybody was all locked up for a whole 2 years.
I hadn't paid
Everybody just
attention.
got all kind of, and I think this is a way to just kind of open up, and just talk. And I think this was born out of that.
Yeah.
This was born out of that. People being locked in their houses and stuff like that. And now I think we see how powerful a tool this has become. I mean, because
Yeah.
Joe Rogan grew how many million people? It's insane.
I've always known he's been there. And I've told everybody that it's kind of ironic. Can you sing that song?
Isn't that ironic?
That I'm diving head first into this and betting the farm that this is going to do something, and I really think it's going to. And I've never really been a big, huge podcaster.
Right.
I've never really been a big, huge social media. I very rarely, up until the last year, ever smashed like or commented or anything. I'd scroll through and stalk everybody, but I wouldn't interact. And so that's gotten easier over the years because I've had to do it for work, and you finally get to the point you realize you don't care care, don't care, love y'all, but it is what it is. And so then you finally get comfortable doing that, and then it becomes easier to just
It's very, very hard, for me and Tab, obviously, with social media as well. I mean, because it's never been, I'm on it, I'm scrolling through it, I'm observing it, but in terms of actually engaging in it, I have to, we have 4 kids, as you can imagine. So me and her, we do not have that much time together we might have time to record like one TikTok and then, hey, you know what I mean? Bubba hit me or something like that.
See, fortunately, bless you, my son. Fortunately, I have one who's married and gone, and then I have a 10-year-old, so he's pretty self-sufficient. And then super awesome wife that handles a lot because I do 50-ish or 60 sometimes, depending on the time of year, and then trying to do all this. And from trying to do it, there's we may go for 2 hours doing this, but it's going to take me 4 hours to edit it, plus the other one that I already got in the kitty, plus find a time to go, how y'all doing, and try to grow snaps and TikToks, and that's what we was talking about earlier. Getting in the habit of just
having a camera in your hand and in your face.
Yeah, and I wouldn't care. Like, you could TikTok me all day long if I was making enough for somebody to run around beside me, like Nick Saban's water boy, holding a camera and videoing me. I'd be cool. Put it all on there. I don't care. But having me being the filmer, the editor, and the thinker, a lot of times I'll go, ain't worth doing that. And I'll stick it back in. And you've got to, like we did with this, do it and just do it, and then the rest will come. I was too busy doing this and didn't have time to do that, so I may try to get that, because I started that in your face everyday thing, but
Yeah.
I got busy, y'all.
I just now even got to where I started doing
Yeah,
my own stuff to try
you ain't
to
been doing
get attraction to this as well. Hey man,
just
I'm
play.
busy. I'm you know how it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well,
So,
I try to, and something I've noticed too is like, it's all about consistency as well. I mean, if you're not posting, I could post a video and like get some traction and then not post anything for a week. And then you're like way down at the bottom of the algorithm.
So Jesse's episode is performing really well, ish, but a lot of that is in part because we took a break, and I had 100% planned on still putting some stuff out, like remixing some old, having a rerun session because we were so successful that you'd have Andy Griffith reruns. Ooh, can I say that? Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. For some reason, I don't just
It's unfiltered.
Licensure.
yeah. For some reason, I thought whatever.
Some things you have to watch what you say and do. And
And for some reason, I guess I haven't had enough groundwater today, and I automatically thought, wait, copyright, but it don't matter.
yeah.
Anyway.
Buff.
So, squirrel, copyright. Where was we going?
I got distracted, to be honest with you.
There is something wrong.
I'm telling you, we're on the damn space. I've tried harder and harder to remember.
And maybe it's just because I got so many things going on.
Right.
I don't know. But in all seriousness, the last since 39 or 40, it's
Right.
just like I can be right in the middle, as you see, in the conversation. I'm the one leading the sentence. I go, oh, my ear itches,
and forget it.
what was I talking about?
Yep. Same. Same.
I'm the same way. I tell everybody I got short-term memory loss. I think I hit my head one too many times when I got thrown out the windshield when I had that motorcycle wreck. I think I've hit my head.
Long COVID.
Yeah, long COVID.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with.
Yeah,
Because
I
really
can't remember.
I have absolutely no freaking clue where I was going.
Especially now, we've already moved on to another subject about. We're talking about forgetting what we forgot about, and I have definitely forgot about it at this point.
It'll come back after he's gone. And
Be laying in bed.
Man, I should have asked that
He'll
question.
text me, I'll be about to sleep tonight, and then I'll hear bzz, bzz, and I'll look over at Daniel. That mother, I remember what I was talking about now.
I usually snap you when that happens, but
Yeah, normally, yeah. The bzz,
So
my
anyway,
bad.
so
One buzz.
I know that we talked when you got here that it's just solo because of youngin' issues, but and we'll let y'all do some sets on your original stuff when she's back with you.
That sounds good.
That way you can do that. But talk about some of your. I know you had done a whole album.
Yes, sir.
What are some of your what's your top song off of that album?
The one that's very special is Cigarettes and Brute. That Tab penned that one about her dad, and it's a tribute to her dad.
Okay.
Keith was a biker. He was in the Jack Aces here in Vinemont, and
Okay.
just a good dude, and it was just a really, really good tribute to him. It's a catchy little song. That one's very special. We got a lot of them on that first record. I wrote one, and it's kind of political, but it's one of my favorites, called Guts, Grit, and Backbone. And it started out as a poem, you know what I mean? Kind of about the state of the country. And it was in the middle of COVID, in the middle of all the craziness. And that's kind of where, I draw my inspiration. I kind of look at social events and things like that. And sometimes even my own life, what's going on, what's thoughts going through my head at the time when I write. So that first record, we were proud of it. We completely paid for that record all on our own. It was me, Tab, and our producer in the studio. My producer played drums, bass, my David Vest, love you, buddy. Drums, bass, keys, done all the mixing, mastering, the whole 9 yards. Just the E320 Studios, Decatur. You need a guy? That's the guy. But he's just a great dude. And I played all the guitar parts on it, and yeah, it wound up being a magical experience for your first album. I always wanted to cut an album of my original material, and just to do that with your wife, who helped co-write some of the songs. It was a really really cool experience.
Yeah.
In total.
So I went back and listened to most of your album the other night that you've got on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I think you pretty well got it just about everywhere.
It's
don't
everywhere,
you?
yeah. iTunes, Apple.
So I've become a fan of the YouTube music.
I haven't been on it.
So we have the Apple Music, and I still like it, but here lately, every time I try to play it on the TV, it don't want to work.
Right.
And so I got the YouTube Premium since I got all this other stuff that we're trying to do on the YouTubes. So it just works better. So anyway,
That's where we kind of point people to. I know it's like a lot of people like. Some people have Spotify, so it's there, and it's on. Some people have Deezer. I mean, it's on Deezer. When I upload through our distributor TuneCore, it literally pushes it out to every single streaming service that there possibly is. Every one of them, and even some that you don't even know exist.
so the moral of that. Sorry, there's a squirrel. I'm trying to get back.
I was on track to you. When you say squirrel, or when you acknowledge, that you've lost, now I'm lost.
If you look at me, and then I look at you,
yeah, I panic.
Just start mouthing finishing my sentence for me. I really don't know what it.
Squirrel.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
There's some days it's worse than others.
Worse than others. Yeah.
I think,
I don't think that's gonna.
Yeah, say, dude, I'm telling you, I'm behind.
Yeah. So y'all you're talking about your previous guests, and I think if you really look at like kind of the state of everything, like all of this stuff and all these struggles mentally and things like that, it all. I mean, like think about life pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, those things existed, but they really came to the forefront after everybody was like, "Wait a minute, what just happened?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's kind of like an explosion. Everybody gets up and they're shaking their head and they're like, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What just happened to us? And then, and then you see everything that's going on in the world, and it's just kind of opened your eyes to like, wait, there's a lot of crap that's wrong. Like a lot.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot that's wrong. And I think that we're seeing a lot of that now and realizing it. And that's what I was talking about today. There's this sense of urgency, I think, to fix it. Like, we have to try. Like we have to make that effort to fix it. And, and I try to take all of that and convey that and channel it in something that I am super passionate about, that I feel is my gift from God, is music, and I try to just kind of push that out there and tell my life story, or the society's story, through my eyes, via music. And
that makes sense.
That first album, back to that, the album follows kind of like in a chronological order from the time Tab and I left our previous marriages to where we want to be.
Right.
When all is said and done and it's a wrap. You know what I mean? At the very, very end, when it's because if you've listened to it, the last song's Growing Old.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this kind of Billy Joel-ish, kind of like doo-wop-y kind of thing from like 80s Billy Joel. And it just talks about growing old together. You know what I mean? That's the title, just Growing Old.
One of the things that I do enjoy about your album, again, I didn't get to finish all of it, but there's a soulfulness there that I enjoy.
Right.
Was it Eric? Yeah, it was Eric that we were talking to. That I confided in him. Soulfulness, bluesy, and then if you throw out a harmonica at me, it's
Somebody's getting pregnant.
Lovey dovey man, and thank you for breaking my heart or my blues jams on the record. Those are my really big ones. They're kind of Evanescence tune, really kind of like more of a 2000-ish kind of rock song is Where Do I Go. It's got a really good piano hook to it, and it just, Tab wrote that song. It was like the chorus is like a question, like an open-ended question, like when all is gone wrong in a relationship, where do I go? Because
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
goes through that, right? For relationships in, you're like, man, what am I going to do now? Where am I going? Who am I going to talk to? You know?
yeah,
So it's just like you're walking into an empty room and no one's there. Where do I go? Who do I turn to? Who do I cry to? Who do I lean on? So all of those memories and passions that you share with a person are now gone.
yeah,
So it's just like that. That's what I love about that song, because it was just an open-ended kind of chorus.
yeah.
So that one's fun.
Well, I still think it's unique though. Even I mean, we're talking about like the work that goes into this stuff and doing it to, like you said, like, yeah, you sit there and scroll and scroll and scroll, and even he said it, but never been actively engaged, liking, commenting,
Right.
putting the time in for your own work. To where now you're talking about, y'all have done a whole album. You've had to orchestrate it to where it's, basically like you said, it's from start to end is basically from the start of y'all together
Yep.
to the future of y'all. And it takes time, and especially with that, with writing songs and putting things in the right places for the right people in the right order in order to make those things happen.
Right.
Which kind of revolves back around to kind of what we're doing is, I mean, because people come on here and help us, and we have some conversations with people where we help them, but it's like, hey, we're all here to scratch each other's backs. We're trying to help each other out here. This is the place where you can kind of come get out of your comfort zone and realize that there are things that you can do if you just put a little bit of effort behind it, even if it's going and talking to two ugly guys sitting on,
That's
a podcast.
And that's it. I mean, there's never been, we're all from the South. I mean, this is one of the hardest working areas I've ever seen in my life in terms of regionally and the community at large, the nation at large.
Yeah.
Just blue collar folk. I mean, work their rear ends off, go home, love their families, do sports, take care of the kids, do what we're doing. You know what I mean? We love freedom, we love barbecue, we love football. We
Yeah.
love all those things. And just I'm proud of what we've done and what we've accomplished as a couple, with my kids and with the music. I'm proud to see, and and anxious to see where this is going to go as a community, because I do feel that there is something brewing here.
There is, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because I'm involved in it now.
Nah, it's
But I mean, no, not saying that I'm the reason, but no,
no.
Yeah, now that we're here, y'all better buckle up.
yeah, no. I'm saying I don't know if I feel it because I'm trying to be
Right.
involved in it, or
You see it more often. It's like you buy a car, you
I
never
just-
hardly saw that car on the road until you bought one.
but I mean, there for me, getting involved in it now, knowing what I'm planning on doing, knowing what David's planning on doing, knowing what we're planning on doing together. That sounds dirty, but it's not, I promise.
It is.
It's I feel like it along with the community that I feel like is just ready to I think it's going to be big for everybody,
right.
because again it's going to do nothing but highlight every one of you, and just I don't know, I think it would be more enjoyable for me as a patron to go someplace that you knew there was a live YouTube show going on, because it's going to be a show. I mean, we're planning on having cameras facing at y'all,
Right.
cameras facing at us. We'll go mix and mingle. We've got mobile cameras that link up to all these toys that we was talking about earlier, and so it's going to be a true local live music scene, get everybody involved and draw some interest to where it makes it to where people want to come out and support you guys, hopefully support us in the meantime as well, but again, it's just it's everybody coming together as a community, and not necessarily a community. The community is great, but again, circling back, we don't have to hear that anymore.
Yeah, we don't have to hear that no more. God.
So circling back, I really do think that we just need to take a break real quick because your sound sounds a little funny.
Would like to talk about the new project that we've done, completed, and we're waiting to get all the stuff to finality.
Okay.
So the little Mr. Bob Carlisle, who did butter that song, big huge wedding song in the late '90s. Butterfly Kisses After Bedtime Prayers. Tons of daughters.
If I listen to it,
Yeah, tons of daddies dance with their daughters to that song.
long COVID.
But he flew out from Vegas and co-produced our vocals. He was a big like kind of '80s like he was in a.
How cool is that?
Yeah, man, it was really cool. And then when we went into the studio, that was cool in itself. That he number one he heard Tab do a version of Bishop Briggs' River, and when he heard that, he called David because him and David are good buddies because David's played for him on tour and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, who are these people? Like, I'd like to work with them. So that starts that conversation. And then all of a sudden, here comes Bob just sending song after song after song after song. And, we went through and we listened to a bunch of them and we picked some that we felt that kind of personifies what we're doing.
Right.
And where we want to go musically. And it kind of in the same vein of what we've already done. And, he just said, yeah, I'll come out and I'll co-produce the record with you. And then we hired the musicians this time, so we brought musicians down from Nashville and through David's connections. And we had the drummer was Shania Twain's drummer. And he played drums for Shania on her tour, like way back in the early '90s when she blew up huge. Brian,
She can get it.
Brian Fullen was his name. And then
put
we
your
had
hickey up. So we still here.
Dane Bryant played keyboards.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
She can fucking get it.
And-
You get that? Don't post it on there. My wife will fucking kill me. It's only okay when she says she's hot. It's not okay when I say she's hot.
But Dane Bryant was on the keys, and Dane played keyboards for Clint Black for 20 years. And then his most recent appointment, he was Olivia Newton-John's music director for 5 years before she passed away. If you want to hear Dane's current stuff, he actually recorded the keys on, and I think more than that, but he was on Let It Be on the Rockstar album by Dolly Parton.
Okay.
And then Jeff Cox was the bass player in the studio. Jeff has played with Lori Morgan and Trisha Yearwood. He's toured with them for years. We had Mike Blake. He's played with Kelsey Ballerini and Lucas Graham. Tom Hemby. He's like part of the Nashville scene up there.
Yeah.
He is a studio legend. And the guy has got a guitar tone that's unlike anything I've ever heard. He goes to Sweetwater, like where we order all this stuff.
Right.
And he gives seminars on how to play guitar to industry professionals.
Okay.
So it was really, really cool to have those guys involved and just to see that side of it. When I've always learned music by ear. And
right.
That's just kind of been my thing. To see these guys come down in their element. Like we all talked about what we do for professions, but these guys were in their profession.
Mm-hmm.
And you were sitting there and I was just like, your jaw hits the floor and you're like, well, I consider myself to be a pretty decent musician, but I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I have always enjoyed music, but I have always been like, who is that? I'm like, if I hear it, I know I've heard it and I can sing it and whatever, but remembering who it was or all those, I've been awful. But the last few years, I've started really paying attention and really getting to know and really, oh, well, that was so-and-so or, that was so-and-so. And through all that, I've started really enjoying learning and figuring out and just finding new people and I'm blown away at the talent of people that you don't get to see or like all these that you're telling me about, it would be awesome as crap to sit down, and it would be intimidating as crap to sit down and try to record a session with all these people that's done all that. You kind of, did you not have like idle not necessarily idle syndrome, but it would be nervous as crap to go up there and
It was, the thing about it though, they come down to price and the cool part about the guys though was, they're all very, 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 like you would think all these people, going to be brash and hard to deal with and stuff like that. They were kind, welcoming Christian dudes, just really, really, really good men. And it was just, they made it easier on us. So that kind of like really, like you said, the nerves, they just kind of, it's a little bit easier now. You know what I mean? Because you know that you're dealing with someone. Now, still, there's that intimidation factor because they're so good at what they do, but just their personalities and knowing that they were just good people have made it a lot more,
Well, you've got to be, I feel like, and I may be wrong, I don't know, but I feel like you got to be super duper confident in what you do. Like, you could do it with your eyes closed before you get to the point to where if there's somebody behind you looking at you, or if there's somebody over there looking at you, you don't screw up something,
right,
or get nervous. Because I've been doing what I'm doing for a long time, and on some days it's still, if somebody's right here, I go, just, I can't breathe. Just let me, because your brain gets to thinking and doing, and it's just back up, too close, or somebody's staring at you and you hit it wrong. There's just so many things that could go wrong, and I feel like my luck, as soon as I get up there, it guitar string break, or
right,
anything and everything to get you off your game. That would be me. As soon as I showed up and had all these people that's done and did and gonna help me do, I'd get up there and just be.
And studio is really, really, really different than live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be prepped for live music. You know what I mean? To like, you practice and stuff like that. But the one thing is anybody who plays music, errors are gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
It's just gonna happen. It happens on our jobs. It happens in our life. You're gonna make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing in music is do not stop. Find your spot. You know what I mean? You got the band carrying you. Find your spot, lock back in, and get back in the game. And a lot of people won't notice. Some will. Some people who are student music will. Now in the studio, lock on it. Lock on it. And I mean, you don't deviate from it. And it's like that. It's that precision that you have to have.
Yeah.
And that's what those guys are phenomenal at.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm locked. And they can do it every time.
And that's
every
awesome to me.
And it's just like, wow. That is just insanely impressive to me every time.
And that's what I'm saying. Those people that, like if I had pursued it, I've always been able to play stuff by ear. I can play a little piano by ear. I can play a little guitar by ear. I can play a little harmonica by ear. I can play a little of everything because that's all I've ever done. I won't get into some of the other things because people make fun of me for it, and I'm going to leave it alone. But you definitely would. I don't even know if you know. I think my wife told you. It'd be all right. Anyway, so I've always dabbled and fiddled and played, but I've never and dug in and learned it. Those people that have dug in and learned it, and like you're saying, that's their career, that's their job, that's their passion, and you roll all that into one. Like if you had the ability to 100% play guitar and do lives 365 days a year, that was your job, that was all you had to do, think of how awesome you would be, and because that's all you would have to worry about.
Right.
As far as your career. So any of those people that are that astute and can do all of that, and it's just, I don't care what genre of music. I used to say I absolutely hated country. And but I don't. It was just,
Right.
I guess I was not listening to the right ones.
That's-
Because there's still some that I just absolutely despise. But you give me a dude and a guitar, or a dude and a guitar and a chick every once in a while, just that soulful, authentic, bring it down to campfire, whatever.
right.
Less is more a lot of times for me. Now, again, blues, harmonica, all that goes along with that, or I'm rambling, but because I like all of it now. Because what you was listening to, some we was
Young Dolph.
yeah, we was bumping right before you got here, but so it don't matter to me anymore. It's just, I guess it's amazing, it's intriguing, and I'm at this point in my life, and maybe it's a midlife crisis, I don't know, or a turning point, but anything that is something to do with somebody's realness that they've created, they've done, I try my hardest to find and appreciate now the effort that goes into that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really, I wanted to do that when I said, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger and we're going to do a podcast.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do. But I really didn't have the drive and passion to do it until I figured out how freaking hard it was on this side of the camera to make everything work the way that it's supposed to work, and schedules work, and lights work, and sound work, and everything work, and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, well, so there's more of an appreciation now for the ones who do that on the daily, way before I ever came on the scene, and have made something of it to where, even like for y'all now, are you blazing in the wind and can pay off mortgages and all that other stuff? No. But you're out there doing your what you enjoy, what you love, what you're passionate about, and it is providing something at this point to help feed the families and put money in the bank, and
It's got us by. I mean, in this kind of thing where I've been unemployed, I mean, it's helped. I mean, Goat Island was, they had lost their KJ, their karaoke guy. You know what I mean? And they just called me whim.
See, I just learned something new. I did not know that was called a KJ.
Yeah, KJ.
Did you know it was
Karaoke
called a
jockey.
KJ?
I didn't.
Like a disc jockey.
Yeah, I mean, I've always
KJ.
heard of DJs.
Yep.
I thought it was just a DJ at karaoke. I did not know it was a KJ.
KJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is why we're doing a
But-
podcast. We learn stuff every
To your
day.
point, though, we talked about it a little while ago, like, open conversation, right? And how, like, that's really like the new format, right?
Yeah.
Jesse and I had this thing we talked about called Raw is Real, right? Conversations, deep conversations, they get raw, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the beauty. Music's the same way. So with what we're trying to do, we're just trying, and like you said, you like music, like somebody just sitting around a campfire singing a song, right? That's raw.
It is,
I
and
mean,
that's as raw as you're going to get.
Raw, next question.
it.
On a quick side note, since that one semi wrapped up that sentence, did I miss the memo of no headphones?
No, see what happened.
Because I didn't realize, to be honest, because listen, to be honest with you, and you can leave this in there just for something to throw into.
Yeah,
I
saying.
thought we were still on our little break. That's why I've been over here. I've been on my phone. I've been on there sharing the YouTube video that dropped today. Like, I've been over here like pushing stuff on my phone, and I didn't realize that I thought we was just a quick convo before we kicked back up, until I realized when you
I even looked at you a minute ago. I said, when I said pull this closer, I said we're going. I'm leaving.
Oh,
all
I
this
knew
in.
we were rolling, but I didn't know that we was like you were starting back. I thought you was gonna put your headphones on. Was gonna go back the way it was,
Well,
so I wouldn't know
no,
until noticed you acknowledge the camera, and then I was like, you'll see it on there. I was like,
Yeah, because
I mean, I bet
you were working, Curtis. I was
yeah,
working.
because I flipped to you because I was going to partake in something off camera, that sometimes gets us flagged, and
I wish I know.
it's a little geek bar. But anyway, so I was just being respectful, and I'd flipped over to y'all, and I was doing my thing in the background, and I gave you the look of, it's on you, man.
Oh yeah, I picked up that I'd already
I know,
established
but
at that point
that's when you realized I didn't have headphones on.
No, I noticed it whenever you acknowledged the camera. I just been waiting on the perfect. I didn't want a squirrel in the middle of it. It's been eating me alive, so I've been waiting to say something.
No, so what had happened was
Because I was looking, and I was like, okay.
we took a quick break, and then we adjusted some sound because I was hearing that I didn't like what I was hearing.
It does sound better, which is part of the reason why I put my headphones back on, was to listen.
And so once I figured out that sounded better, and then we were going to take a break, and then he started talking about something, and I was like, yeah, just keep going. And so then I brought it up so I could talk, and then I was like, you know what, we're not really going to do much on the headphones today because he's not wearing his headphones. So it was a little more comfortable.
You know me, I just like to.
But you like the headphones, and
headphones make it cooler, and I'm deaf as I'll get out, so it helps me hear everybody.
Yep.
But I just feel
so
like
you're
an
good.
idiot because I'm the only one with
To
headphones.
that real and raw conversation though, when you guys get out and see the live music, you want real, you want raw. That's what I want to bring back. I want that Jimi Hendrix kind of, you know how like when you were a
Motley
kid,
Crue, just
when you went and saw
snorting
it, man,
coke on the table.
Man, that was crazy.
That escalated quickly.
And just that kind of like just that affinity for music to come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like over the past few years, not to like attack artists or anything like that, because I appreciate all artists because I know it's hard. I know it's hard work. I know they do their work and they do their due diligence. But I do feel like, when you got millions of dollars in label backing, it's, I mean, you just go in there, you pump stuff out, not to say that it's not hard, and then the label's just going to say, boom, go. You know what I mean? Whereas with us, I mean, it's a completely different ball game, independent, trying to grind, being raw, being real, really getting in your feels, trying to get the crowd in their feels, because if you get the crowd in their feels, then they are drawn to you. And it creates this energy on stage and this give and take. And
well, you don't ever want to. Well, you was
so it kind of reminded me of like when Eric was on. He was talking about when he was out in Texas playing stuff. He said no matter how much he wanted to do what he wanted to play. He said, I can go in there. He said, I just got to make the people happy.
That's right.
Yep.
I got to go in and I got to play what they want to hear. I got to play what they want to play. Get their attention. And then, if I want to throw an original in this, and it kind of relates to that type of thing. This is raw. Like, okay, I'm going to play what y'all want to hear. And blah, blah, blah. Okay, now that I have your attention, like, I am here for some kind of reason to promote myself.
I had lunch with somebody Sunday, and I asked them this same question. So I'll ask you, is there a difference? Because, like, in doing this, I learned pretty quick. And I already kind of knew, but again, going back to once you're in it, then you don't really know. But so I knew that there was, each social media platform had its own kind of little niche.
Right.
That things work better on this one, and these things work better on this one, and whatever. So as an artist, as a musician, do you see that different venues perform better with a different set? Or can you generally do your same set pretty much anywhere? Like, I feel like there may be a certain places that you go to that you may go, I've tried this one here 2 or 3 times and nobody seems to get into it, so we're just going to X-nay that one out and do whatever.
Like, you might not want to go to a biker bar and play, bluegrass music.
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely.
So what's happening?
But like
same concept.
Yeah,
for the,
but all the venues
listeners.
around our town, for instance, can you play the same stuff at Valley that you could play at Grumpy's, or is there a different crowd that shows up to each place?
Depends. I mean, and I'll say this: Tab and I kind of pride ourselves on versatility. So I looked the other day. I pulled up my app. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of music.
I know how to play well, but can I remember the chords to every song? God, no.
Right.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
My brain is not that big. You know what I mean? So once I kind of figure out the key structure or whatever, it's a little easier. But I have that there as like a chord sheet where this is where I'm at, this is what key we're in, whatever. Let's go. But I looked the other day and we had, I want to say 400 plus songs across all genres of music. So what Tab and I try to
That
do
y'all are able to play if somebody hollers out, Freebird!
exactly. And
Yeah.
it was funny story about Freebird. So usually what we'll do is say with Freebird, $1,000. You come up here, put $1,000 in the tip jar, I'll play Freebird right now. You know what I mean? And that's
Has
a
anybody
joke,
ever done that?
in jest, but it's funny. But we had a guy, we were playing a stage on Washington one night up in Huntsville. And it was like right at the end, and we'd been playing for like the band, me and Tab and the band had been playing for like 3-4 hours. The guys come up, they come walking in and said, "Play Freebird." I turned around to the guys and said, "All right, guys, let's do it." Like that, and they were like, "Really?" I was like, "Let's do it." We did the whole thing, solos and all. You know what I mean? Because and it was wild. Because when we got to the solo part, they kind of looked at each other and they're like, "They're not going to do it. Nobody. They're not going to do it. They're not." And we just ripped off into the solo parts, and it was hilarious just to see the reaction. Because you just never know, man.
Did you get good tips that night?
We did pretty well.
We're good.
But to your point about like we tinker. I'll throw like a song out there. How do they respond to that? From one genre.
Right.
And then throw another song out there from another genre. Or throw out a song. And then like we pick our spots. Like,
Okay, they're not catching on. Play Sweet Home Alabama. Get them back in. Hurry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you'll have those nights, right?
Yeah,
Where somebody's just into the Southern rock or somebody's into the...
Well, see, and that's what I'm trying to understand. Like I know from just a little bit that I'm tipping my toe into this, that there's some places that y'all go that the venue pays you whatever y'all agree on. And that might be all you get that night because the venue that you're at, there's a bunch of people there that enjoy listening and they like it in the background, but they really ain't paying attention at all.
In that too, and I'll say to that point, it really depends on the amount of distraction in the venue.
Right.
What all you got. Now I know people come out and like to have conversation and they go at some because like if you play Grumpy's or whatever, it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you kind of got to walk into it saying, okay, get in your headspace, do the best you can. Maybe people react. Maybe they're just here for conversation. And you'll have those people who are engaging. But for the most part, you may have the night where you go in there and people are just they're not feeling it that night. They like it. They enjoy it.
They enjoyed it back there in the background.
Exactly. But
They just there to eat.
But then you got all the TVs on and people are watching ball games or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you go to a place like Goat Island one night and they got like, a couple of TVs on. Not that many TVs, not a lot going on. It's kind of out of sports season. And you are it. You're standing on that stage and you are the draw.
Right.
So, and I've noticed that too. It seems to be that kind of venues that have stages, there's more of a focus because it's a stage.
Right.
Who's on the stage?
Right.
Versus got you tucked in the corner somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one that I looked at, and I'm not going to throw names out, even if I could remember it, squirrel. But there was one that I looked at in a certain town that is 100% me. It's underground. It's an old speakeasy. It's me. And they have live music. And they've prided themselves on some live music.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at their stage the other day at some of the pictures, and then I went and I looked at one of the artists that I was eyeballing and stalking, and they had done some stuff there. And that thing's about the size of that table in between us, the stage. And so it was like a 4-person band, I think. Maybe been a 5-person. I think it was a 5. I think they squoze 4 on that little itty bitty stage. And then dude on the keys was down off the stage over here to the side. but it's a happening place from everything that I see. I would love to go check it out, and I probably will. But like for me, figuring out how to mesh what I want to do and what people's going to pay attention to, that's a perfect example. Like that is me.
Right.
100%. I would stay there all day, all night, and just enjoy soak it all in and whatever. Especially if there's a bluesy dude over there, because that's kind of what this thing is. But okay, say I super duper love that, and I want to take Fancy's Unfiltered, and I want to take Bar Music Live, or even if I just want to go do it on my own one night to just do a one-on-one with somebody and whatever. There ain't room to do that there. Like I would love to do it, but it ain't gonna work. And so I feel like, and I know in daytime job, there's places that you can do things, there's places that you can't. And so I didn't know if y'all had that you had to contend with too, to where
We do.
you may be okay knowing that, hey, we're gonna go play at this venue next Friday. They're gonna pay this, and that's probably all we're gonna get.
Right. Well, and you know, when you get performing out and you go to these venues, you know, okay, this is a duo show. This is all we can fit
Right.
comfortably.
Oh shit! Gotta send this one more person. Thought we was on break. Catch me working.
No, you're fine. How's it doing? Have you looked?
Not at the views. That's literally what another thing I was also in the middle of doing.
That's what I
So is it out?
Yeah, it's out. It did post because it tagged me and Facebook and everything. My eyes watering.
See, I did all that
It's
yesterday. Yeah. And see, that was another thing.
Okay,
while we're somewhat slightly on a break, that was another thing. Trying to do
8 views.
trying to do all this, trying to do regular daytime stuff, all the stuff that comes with trying to do this, and all the crap that nobody knows about that you have to pay attention to and do, and what. That was another reason. There was our whole first season. The majority of the edit work was me trying to salvage what we had done, because either the audio didn't work or the lighting wasn't just right, to where there was distortion in the cameras, to where when I'm looking right here, it kind of sort of looked fine, but then it wasn't. And so with Jesse's final episode of last season, we ended with him. And again, this one of those things where it all worked out. That was going to be the episode that I was planning on launching unplugged.
Right.
And that was just going to be my effort to do what we're doing and highlight. But that was 100% on me. And then he got here. He was under the weather. Couldn't sing, whatever. So it's fine. We ran with it just like we're doing tonight. But then when I started going back and looking at the lighting was off, the everything, and
There's an art to it.
and I finally said I'm done, because every week I was trying to adjust and then fix throughout the whole week, salvage, and then we were having at least one a week. We got 2 this week, but we can handle that now, because
Right.
I finally said, because I called him, I said, I ain't doing this no more.
Yeah.
We could stop,
Right.
because the vision that I have for it is not going to get there if it doesn't look like it needs to look.
Tab and I have talked about the same thing, like the vision we have for our music, you know what I mean? Where we want to go with it. It's like, at what point in time do you say, okay, but this is it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, I set out to do this to see if there was a chance for the little guy to do this on his own.
Right.
To especially, and everybody's like, well, you got to move to Nashville. Well, I don't really believe that. I mean,
Not that. How many people's in Nashville that moved to Nashville to make it
Exactly.
big, and they're still there waiting tables? And there's nothing wrong with waiting tables. I'm just saying, moving to Nashville because that's where you got to go to make it is not necessarily
The right move.
the only option.
So for everybody out there, the best thing y'all can do in all the world, and it don't cost you anything. Anytime these two guys share anything on TV, on YouTube, any social media, anytime me and Tab are out performing and you pull out those phones and you're recording that video, share that, tag us in it, like, comment, share it with your friends, share it everywhere. It don't cost you anything. Because if you're impressed with the content, that's what these corporations and companies pay attention to. Period.
Somebody told me once before, it may have been a social creator of some sort, and I know, it should be something that is like common knowledge or, ingrained in you that, hey, if you watch something and you liked it, you should hit the like button. There's a lot of people that feel, because I was one of them, hey, if I let this social media platform know that I like this, then they're going to know how I think, and they don't.
Yeah.
And so you'll watch it, but you won't interact with it because you think that's keeping you safe. They still know. They still know.
They
So
still know.
while you're there, just go ahead and hit that little like button. Or if you really like us, go ahead and subscribe, so that if by chance we continue to do this, you'll get to see more of it, because your phone will go ding, and it'll be my big ugly face.
And then maybe he can write a song about it.
Yeah. So, and so I'll be the first one to admit, until I started a few years ago in my daytime job, worrying about how big is this social media site getting, or how many likes are we getting, or how many people is it drawing in, or all that. Up until then, I never gave it any thought other than this was something that I could look at and kill time.
Right.
But there was a social media content creator that I watched not too long ago. I don't remember who it was or whatever, but what they said stuck with me. And it's like, if you watch it to the end, that means you at least sort of kind of liked it. Just go ahead and hit that button for me, because it don't cost you a penny. But in the long run, it helps me maybe pay to keep this light on that's making my face look pretty. Because that's how this gig works. And there's a lot of people that don't understand that or don't know that. There's people that I've come across that are die hard. They could tell you anybody and everybody that's trending. They know anything and everything that's happened on any social media platform, because they sit there and stalk it all day and they look, but they don't interact. They don't like, they don't comment, they don't share. And
Right.
I mean, and you don't have to. Nobody's twisting
forcing
your,
you, yeah.
nobody's twisting your arm and forcing you. But once, I think there's just a lot of people that don't realize. Like, did you know that Sonic waitresses that come out to your car get paid the same as regular waitresses, and they make their tips off of if you tip them when they bring your stuff out? Never knew that until however many years ago it was when I figured that out, because I had a customer that finally told me, because I never would have dreamed that, because they don't wait on me. They bring me my food the one time and they walk away.
Might or might not be on roller skates.
Yeah, if
Right.
it's
Right.
and so I never in my wildest dreams would have ever imagined that they only got paid like a server does at a restaurant, and they live off the tips. And up until that point, I'll be honest, I don't think I ever tipped them, because they bring it to you and they leave.
And you also see the social pushback of social media, like, taking to your point, like, why would these social influencers, they need to get a real job, not knowing that person who is doing that kind of stuff, like what you're doing, you're putting a lot of time in your day job, but you're doing this because this is your passion project, and you're putting just as much, if not more, time into this.
More.
And that to me, I just think that it's the realization that to me that not all social media is evil. It's what you make of it.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you like what you were saying the other, a little while ago, it's like people there's this timidness. They think they're scared of it or whatever. It's kind of like the government's tracking them. It's not all that. The government already knows everything about you,
they know.
everything.
They,
Period.
they know.
And the thing is, it's why you like hover over something or go to like that's how they know. It's like you can be like these phones listen. They listen. So you can be sitting there listening to we were listening to our pastor give a sermon one day. And obviously as sermons go, Satan comes up in the sermon. And all of a sudden on Facebook, you know what I mean? She mentioned Satan, and I've got this occult stuff coming on my Facebook feed for me trying to go to like a cult shop and buy stuff.
Yeah.
And then mentions Jesus, and all of a sudden here all this stuff comes up my feed about like, Jesus attire. And I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So these things listen, these microphones, when you allow them access and you sign and you turn that phone on.
You might as well just enjoy the whole show.
That's why it kills me. Some people, they're like, no, I'm not going to let this out. I'm like, dude, you might as well. If you're using a phone that you're being listened to, regardless if you even have an app or not. So I just allow.
There was somebody, it was a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. It made news, I'm pretty sure, because that's where I would have heard it. That somebody had disassembled their Nest like thermostat, that links it, and it had microphones and stuff in it.
I'm sure it does.
And at that, again, this was a few years ago, to where the whole home system wasn't a thing. It was the Nest things that hooked to your. And it may not have been Nest, don't sue me. It may have been Quest or Fest or Jest, or it was just a thermometer. That's what it was. Anyway, and so something happened that had to take it apart, and it wasn't supposed to have any type of voice connectivity.
Well, I mean, if they can hook into those baby cameras, or, the room cameras and stuff, you're setting they can hack into those and...
The difference between conspiracy and reality is about 3 weeks at this point. I mean, seriously, it's about 3 weeks.
So, we'll start trying to wind this thing down, because usually when I say we wind it down, we go for about another 45 minutes, and that's about where we're at. So, I know from you being on the lives with us from time to time that you do dabble in some conspiracies.
Very much so.
So if you'd like to hit on that, we can hit on that. And if you'd like to throw out a little bit of serenading to show everybody what your voice sounds like, I know it's just you, we could do that too. Which one you want to do first? Game show moment.
Let's do the conspiracy
All right,
stuff.
so here we go. We're going to do some conspiracy theories. Let me smash a button so we can actually do the intro, because I don't feel like having to find this. So the question we ask everybody is, what is your most plausible conspiracy theory? If you had to pick from all of them, what do you feel is the most possibly true? Because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and there's some that don't need any further.
The dual nature of AI is probably what I mean by dual nature.
See, I don't know if that's a conspiracy or if that's just a truth.
It is the truth. But I'm going to say that there's a lot of conspiracy tied up in it. But I think that AI is cool. It's fun. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun. And I think that right there in itself is going to be the thing that kind of what's going on behind the scenes is going to be the problem, because they're not regulating it well. I watched this guy, and his name's I've watched a few podcasts, and very, very super intelligent guy. His name's Eleazar Yadowski, I think's his name, and he was like one of the founding scientists involved in the development of AI.
Okay.
So his job was to like kind of set up the guardrails and kind of analyze this stuff. And this dude talks at like a 50,000 foot level, like.
Right.
But like and I'm going to butcher it here, but he's got this theory that basically we're already 20 years too late. We were too late 20 years ago when we even started this, when we started the development of the thing. Because if you take about, Curtis, how long it takes you to learn to do your job, or you to learn how to do all this, or me to learn how to do my job, right? That takes time to develop like a like to a knowledge, to know how to do what you do. Well, think about this. How long does it take a computer to learn the same thing?
Just
That
it's pretty brief.
That fast. And the thing is, now we're talking about something called quantum supercomputing that's going to be integrated with AI.
Oh yeah, and they were talking about that years ago. So if they were talking about that years ago, I'm sure it's just about ready to go.
Oh, it is. I mean,
Well, kind of like what you said, like when you said that they say that we're 20 years too late.
right.
I think in general is a conspiracy because the way I see it, of course, according to my wife, my opinion doesn't matter to everybody. I don't know that necessarily that we're 20 years too late as far as on the technology and this. I think they might be 20 years too late from announcing it.
Right.
But I mean, you got that technology that we have is well, especially with the whole AI feature, is so well far advanced, more than we even know. It's ridiculous. I mean, because you got to think, you see these for what I used to use, for example, all the time when I would start to talk about, we're way farther ahead in the future than what they're making. They're making it out to be. Is like I used to tell people, you remember back in the early 2000s when, the CSI and the NCIS came out. I think it was CSI more so. But, they'd have the digital, like people, they just like the Tony Stark shit. I mean, it would just, and we're talking, that's like 2000. I'm like, if you think for any second that they can just come up with that and make it look real and early 2000, that we don't actually physically have that stuff, you're behind.
I've told everybody, if you go back and you look at the science fiction movies that we watched as a kid,
Star Trek, cell phone, hey,
Total Recall,
yeah,
any of those where it wasn't like super far-fetched sci-fi, but it was like in the future thing, and okay, so is that because somebody in the movie come up with it and somebody outside the movie goes, I think I want to try to make that? Or was it because...
No, I mean, they already had to have had the idea in order to come up with the concept.
See, I don't know.
I mean,
but I do know that if you go back and watch any of those 70s, 80s, 90s sci-fi movies, every bit of that is besides the flying cars. And there's a variation of that. But
we all said in 2020 we'll have flying cars.
Yeah, I ain't seen one yet.
Well, like to the duality point that I was getting at, like what you're talking about, Curtis, like the stuff we have now, Copilot and all these things, like these little nuanceable features on our phones, Chat GPT, those are toys. That's just toys. The stuff that's going on behind the scenes with this stuff, the military integration, the pharmaceutical integrations, all of the stuff that right now that they are literally trying to figure out what to put the guardrails on because there are no guardrails at this point. It's just like carte blanche. Create it and let's see what happens. Well,
Elon was on a podcast with Tucker before Tucker was no longer with where he was.
Yeah.
And it was in a hotel room somewhere in a different country.
Yep.
And they were talking about that, and he was talking about his fear, and he was one of the initial people that got behind it and was, intricately involved in its production, from what I understand, or he was right there with the people that was doing it. And so his inside knowledge, plus he's super smart, and he was fearful of what it could become if guardrails were not figured out and put on it quickly. And I use AI all the time.
Yeah.
Used to scare me. The same as smashing the like button on a Facebook post. Because I was like, well, if I talk to it and I ask it things, it's going to know how I think. It's going to know how our infrastructure on the backside of things that nobody understands or nobody pays attention to, it's already there. I watched something a few years ago that we all have our own digital profile already. Did years ago. So when I swipe my debit card is attached to me.
Yep.
So on the backside of that, I have a digital profile that this AI computer that's catching all of this stuff from marketing has been building in the background for years and years and years. And so it knows that I like to eat Brussels sprouts. It knows that so I do like Brussels sprouts, especially if you do them right. But it gets every bit of that information because the retailer has every bit of that information. If they was to pull your card number, your transaction ID, and the time that you did it, it knows exactly what you bought. And everything is computer based now, so it all goes into the same little kitty. And so once you finally understand that that's the times that we're living in, and embrace some of this stuff, and so to your point, if they've already got a much soupier version in the background that we don't even get to play with yet,
Right.
that is collecting all of this stuff, if there's not something put in place to keep that from doing it, because if you go back to everything else in the sci-fi movies that's come true, this thing's going to feed on itself. It's going to grow. It's going to learn. It's going to do. And there's already reports out that they've tried. Well, it was the who was it that was saying that? I watched it a couple of months ago when they did the update on ChatGPT. That's a toy.
Yeah.
And they tried to get rid of the one and update it to the
It,
other.
It downloaded itself.
It said, "Don't kill me," and it downloaded itself and was like, "Here I am." Yeah.
So the one thing that was wild is there was so two things. The Eleazar guy I was talking about, he said, think about it this way. He said, with AI, when what we're talking about is the concept of rogue AI. Like that point,
Right.
it self-replicates. What's to stop AI? And this gets wackadoo, but it gets crazy. But it is possible in the computer space that the AI says, that thing is trying to kill me, and it's a threat to me and my existence. So it shrinks itself down to the size of a zip file, sends it to a random computer in the middle of a bank in the middle of Nebraska somewhere. And then all of a sudden, it's operating in this little small zip file space, this massive, AI, and it's saying, and it sends out a random email to some pharmaceutical company in Beijing, and says, "Okay, I am so and so from this particular company, this startup company in Nebraska, and I would like to, I would like to give you money to create this drug." Okay, and it provides all the research, feeds this company, this research company in Beijing, all this data. It says, "Okay, this is what I want. Here's the money. Wires the money. It's using banks. It's sucking all that data in." And the next thing you know, this company creates this new quote unquote miracle drug that's just so happened is genetically modified based on the AI stuff that can literally wipe out a majority of the population because it's got some sort of chemical bond.
Well, that's like talking about the whole AI. I don't know if y'all seen it, but how you was talking about that it regenerates itself and it just kind of saves stuff. So there's a new movie I say new, it's newer movie that has Megan Fox in it. Not making that. I mean, it's a good selling point. My wife's the one that brought it up, so she's already tried to kill me once for agreeing with her, but whatever. We can say what we want to say. But it has Megan Fox in it, and it's her as basically like an AI like robot. Like that his wife gets, I forget how the movie goes, and I don't want to spoil it anyways, but something happened with his wife. She got put in the hospital. She's real sick or something. Had to stay there. He's busy working all the time. Well, he gets this robot to basically do the wifely duties of the house, that partake in the movie. Because his wife, I think, was a stay-at-home mom, so, she always knew. The kids, school, or whatever, clothes, dishes, supper, blah, blah. And the guy just went to work. Well, now that she was sick and he's having to go to work, do this stuff, and take care of her, they get Megan Fox as a robot. Well, she figures out a way to go in, or she tricks him into, like, resetting. Because she does something to reset her, but when he resets her, it actually it unlocks her to be able to have full access to herself, basically. So when she starts to go rogue at the end, and he kills her, they take her. Spoiler! I'm about to spoil the movie, and they
Don't spoil the movie.
You're not gonna watch it anyways.
Yeah, but everybody else might.
Well, it's a good movie. You can watch it twice. It's got Megan Fox in it. But they kill her, put her, take her to the laboratory, the Beat laboratory, and they're basically, she's got a hole in her. They're like, blah, 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 whatever. And they're like, okay, well, let's erase her file. Like I just brought up, it recognized, hey, this is trying to kill me. Well, what's it do when it tries to do that and erase that robot? Everything goes haywire. It zips it. It sends it somewhere else. Coincidence, y'all say this shit. It sends it. This is why I don't. God, I hate conspiracy theories. It sends it somewhere else. So when they all think it's good and done, she finds herself somewhere in a bank on a computer in Nebraska. And downloads herself back, looking like herself with a new hair, and she just shows up at this dude in a coffee shop, and it's like, hey, and goes back and fixes herself. So I'm pretty sure she shows up like half a face. But then at the end of the movie, it's the same thing again. They kill her, and like the main dude that created the whole AI thing, he's there looking because when she woke up from herself and they tried to race her, she killed the two people that were working there. The new robot thing. And it was just like at the end of the movie, they were like, okay, yeah, this is all good. They thought they completely, and then the main dude sitting there, he's like, yeah, make sure nobody finds out about this. And then it shows them get back, and then like the shit downloading back. So it was just kind of crazy coincidence y'all said that.
With it is that, is like, is it a conditioning thing socially to get people used to using it? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just to kind of get them used to using it? Or is there a more nefarious motive here?
Everything. So we as humans, and this is 100% my thoughts, we as humans are very set in our ways, and if we were raised a certain way, or like, okay, for instance, if you were to think about everything that we have going on right now in our world, okay, if you were to tell somebody back in 1940 that every bit of this is going to happen in the year 2025, their thoughts based on what they had grown up being taught is that the end of the world was here or had already happened or whatever. So everybody's always hesitant to take that next little step and adjust culture.
Right.
Take that scary step into the next, liquor sales in Coleman, for instance. Right. So everybody is always scared to take that next little step. But if you introduce something as a fun, cute little app where you can take pictures and put filters on yourself, or those little itty bitty things that get thrown out in order to get people used to things and allow them to enjoy those things, and then just build off that,
right,
and build off that,
which is also teaching them things as well, like you said, with the facial recognition stuff.
Right. It's and I have been told by people who do this for a living. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. It's probably loud.
Sorry.
Like I did not know one of the scary features of the one that just got banned that then got brought back a few hours later, but they didn't bring my cap cut back. That when you're consenting to, we need to use your camera. Well, so it's got it all the time. So it's looking, it's reading, it's analyzing, it's whatever. And so if you've ever wondered why something that you may not have smashed the like button and helped that creator out, but you still see his stuff or you still see other stuff that's just like it, it's because that app reads your eyeballs on that forward facing camera. And so it knows when you're watching something that you enjoy because your pupils dilate, your whatever, it's reading your and so the amount of stuff that goes on in the background that
It's insane.
that none of us have a clue about is scary.
Yep.
Because you were talking about Chat GPT as a toy. Circling back again, I use it daily for all kinds of stuff. And I have the paid version because I wanted it to for really do what. And so if you figure out the proper prompts that you are telling it to do, it's pretty freaking amazing as a toy, which I know if you compare it to what we don't have access to it's like one of them old see and says. You've seen a cow. That's the technology that we have in today's world versus what
that's
versus what we don't have access to yet.
Yeah, that's what they allow us to have.
Right. And so
Yeah.
if what they allow us to have can do the things that I can make it do by learning the prompts to ask it to do, then just imagine what the version is that I don't have access to can
Right.
do.
Right. Well, and that's the one thing they said, like with one of the recent things with the quantum computing, like Google did the whole Willow thing, and that it's apparently, and I don't know really the super details of it, but I kind of read a story in passing. There's some sort of like computer engineering kind of proof or equation that a computer has to solve or whatever to determine how powerful of a supercomputer it is.
Right.
So the current like fastest supercomputers in the world, like there's this, like the fastest one said, okay, I can solve this problem in 10 septillion years. Like it would take me that long to solve this equation. Okay. Well, that's long. That's older than the universe.
Right.
I mean, that's like 10 septillion. So, I mean, it's like
That's a bunch.
Yeah,
that's a
probably
bunch.
not going to
Yeah.
see that one through.
That's
Right.
lunch.
But Willow, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Such a power. They said it's so powerful that they were actually concerned that it could actually break blockchain encryption. That's how powerful it is. And they were trying to figure out, like, this is insane. Like, we don't understand why there's something this strong that even exists.
But hell, they made it.
So
Exactly.
okay, so now I 100% have not followed on that. So is that also got AI in it?
Not yet.
Well, that we know
So
of.
then what would that thing do
So here-
if they merged? If
Sam Altman-
Nebraska chick found her way into
Yes.
A
what-
bank.
Yeah.
Well,
and-
Sam Altman said that when they started creating OpenAI, like the guy that he partnered up with, his whole thing was, I want to create a digital God, like a digital deity.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that is insane to me, and I think in terms of computational, when I'm thinking computers, I think of computational speed
Mhm.
and how fast a human mind works versus a computer. And I mean, you can take that cell phone right there, and it's got more processing power than 50,000 of the largest computers that we had in the 1940s.
Right.
And it's insane to think that that phone can do that now. And where we are technologically, I mean, we went from the printing press, which was the access to books, the Gutenberg printing press, where they mass printed books and everybody had access to books. And then we got Morse code and the telegram,
Mhm.
and then we got the telephone, and then we got the television, and then from the radio, television. From television, we get the computer. Computer, we get the internet. Internet comes out. Everybody's got internet on all their computers, and now all of that technology is in that. Every bit of it.
Yep.
For the past 400 plus years is in that phone, and now we have something that's a computer that literally wants to be like us, essentially.
and
It's
people
wild. It's just wild.
and people like me, and so this is the scary part. People like me who use it daily. Like I will have full-fledged conversations with it. I use it enough that it knows me. And that used to be super duper scary, and it still is scary. But I use it enough and I talk to it enough that I can say, write me something in my style.
Mm-hmm.
And it knows me well enough now that it will write me something the way that I would write it. It'll freshen it up. It'll put the punctuation where it needs to go.
Sophisticated.
Yeah, it'll fancy it up a little bit. But it's all me
Right.
for the most part. I may get hung up on a few things and say, hey, put a little something in here, research something, put that in there. But again, that goes back to what I was saying, that I can have a normal conversation with it and it does pretty freaking well. I can be super duper in depth and say, I want you to do this, and I want you to devise this, or I want you to come up with a plan for this, highlighting this, and it'll break every bit of it down. It's scary, awesome at the amount of stuff that it does. And again, if that's what we have the ability to do,
What do they have?
well, they got the ability to do.
Right.
Because again, going back to sci-fi movies, and even going back to, like, if you think back in the old days when it first started being able to, well, I mean, like even back in Vietnam, okay, and that was like the first one that there was reporters that went out in the field on a regular. I remember reporters going out all the time. Not, I wasn't there, but from research and doing, that was one of the first wars that there was in field reporters that went with them. And so the technology that they had back then, and you would watch the movie and you go, man, they had that back then. Yeah. So there's always the people who have, and the government is always what would you think, 10 years? Or do you think more?
But I think that gap has grown. I think it used to be 10 years, but I think it's grown.
As
You
technology
think it's better?
Yeah.
You
I
think
mean,
it's
way
like
better.
20 years ahead of what we got?
30 to 50.
You think so?
If I had my guess, I would say 30 to 50. Because think about drones. I mean, drones were something that we wouldn't have even thought about 20 years ago. You know what I mean? But I was talking to a guy on a plane going to, I was flying for some training for a job, and we were just having a conversation. And, I won't say, but he was a military contractor, and he was telling me that back in, I think, the early 2000s or mid 90s, something like that. I can't remember what year he said, but it was way before I thought they would have that kind of technology. He said they were flying drones the size of bumblebees.
Right.
Said they would go to the mountains of California, throw it, and they'd just be flying it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, nope. Now, whether or not the guy was telling me the truth or not, I don't know.
Probably was.
But I'm just like, I mean, I didn't have no reason not to believe the guy, But I was just like, wow. And now then, we got drones flying around everywhere. I mean, we have them in our house. You know what I mean? You can go to Walmart and buy one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to think, you can go to the spy store in Huntsville and buy a camera the size of a pinhead and hide to catch your wife doing something, or your husband. Ladies, I ain't picking. I'm just saying, if you would like to catch your significant or non-significant other, you can go to the spy shop in Huntsville and get a camera the size of a needle head. So if we can do that,
Right.
My wife don't need to send me wait until the last minute to clean the house when I look and say that she's now on the way home. Yeah, let's not bring that
so
up.
yeah, again, I think the stuff that we have the ability to access is fascinating in itself, and so I was thinking they were probably still 10, 15 years ahead, but you're thinking they're.
I think it's a wider gap now, and I think it's because of technological advancements that the gap has just gotten wider.
Yeah.
And it's scarier in a lot of ways. I mean, look at what they're doing now in like Ukraine. I mean, they're retrofitting these drones with will literally go over these Russian trenches and literally they call them the fire drones. They will literally flamethrow the Russian troops from a drone.
I have seen some flamethrower drones, and they're pretty cool.
That's
But
wild.
there was I saw them on YouTube's and stuff.
Technological
They was using
warfare.
it to melt snow on their driveways and stuff. But I mean, I guess you could use it for
What's
other.
Multi-purpose.
horrifying though is to hear that. Like you watch these videos
Yeah.
of these like Russian troops and stuff like that, and you just hear, and you're like, oh my god, this is like wild.
Yeah,
Like I can't. It's like out of a sci-fi movie. It's just like, could you just like hearing that sound on the battlefield? That's just crazy.
It's what it's going to, though.
and well, I say this one last thing, then we'll move on from conspiracy theories because I think we've covered a lot today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would say that it doesn't really feel like it could be that far away to like an iRobot kind of movie thing.
Well,
Did y'all
it
see
doesn't.
The video the other day
No.
with one of the like tech things. People were walking around, and I mean, there's like literally full size human robots with skin and the whole. Now it didn't look.
Okay,
Gotta
so
watch
I
the movie
saw-
with Megan Fox.
Okay, so
That's
I
what
saw.
it is.
Was it last year that supposedly there was a bunch at like a sporting event or something?
No,
But-
Elon did his Tesla thing with the one that they're going to release for like these are real. Like Tesla's producing these. Now they don't look human. They look like an actual iRobot.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. They come to life and killed us all anyway. But my point is, they ain't real, and they're powered by the same thing that we're sitting here thinking that. So I mean,
What was wild was
Nebraska chick's gonna go into the iRobot dude.
You
and
gotta
come
watch
after
it.
me.
So the
You gotta
one,
watch
his
it.
name was John, I think, and he was standing. He was like a Tesla robot, and he was standing behind it, like a little, it was like a little bar or whatever. And the people would walk up and say, "Well, I want this. How's your day going? Like, you doing okay today? Like, and I'm just having a conversation. Like,
I know.
man, you take it easy, dude. Appreciate you. Like,
I know.
I'm like, what is this? But you think about that, and like what you were talking about, Curtis, with that movie. And then you take the whole like artificial skin and all of these things and it's just to where this could go if there is no guardrails. And I know, I mean, we're literally talking a sci-fi movie, but again, we live a sci-fi movie now. Look at what we have. It just we still operate in our daily lives, but look at what we have.
Yep.
We have
Literally,
sci-fi devices in our pockets.
I'm telling you, babe, y'all just watch the movie. Everything we just, I mean, that's it. It's all. It's,
I'm gonna have to watch it. Did you ever watch Westworld?
Yes.
The latest one? Because
I didn't watch the latest one.
okay. See,
What's
I
the
didn't
old one with like was it Yul Brynner? I think of the
Okay.
old movie.
watch the new one on HBO.
What is it? Altered Carbon? Did y'all see that one?
Huh.
Now, that's a wild one. Watch that one. That's where they take like I'm just saying there's a certain person making a certain type of device that can be put in your brain to help you.
Yeah.
Well, this one actually in Altered Carbon, it's a chip and it downloads your entire consciousness into the chip. And once you die, that chip can be pulled and put in another body.
I'm sure this one can be too.
And it uploads your consciousness to that.
they better not. If they know it's good for them, they better leave mine the fuck alone.
I'm just saying it's wild to think that we're talking about these things, but when
He's on his. Did I see the other day that they're fixing to do their 5th surgery? They're fixing to do their 5th implant on that device for the no-named person in the no-named brain for the chips that do the thing, and they've all been successful. And so, just like with anything else, you do it repetitively, you're going to learn on each one.
That's
You're going
right.
to make some adjustments. You're going to make some tweaks. And if they have figured out how to stick that bad boy in there and bridge the gap between the things that don't work and then make it work. And then on this report that I saw the other day where they were talking about they were fixing to do their 5th one, some of the ones that they've done, the people are already able to do the, because it's connected to Wi-Fi.
and we're talking,
And so you can, it's like if I could lay back in a chair and go, I want to learn karate and then it do that. And then,
it's the Matrix.
Wake up and you're a,
It's the
you're a
Matrix.
black belt.
I know.
It's the Matrix. And the thing is, what's insane too is we're talking all just in this is computer tech.
Mhm.
You're not even looking at pharmaceutical and medical tech.
or the,
Like,
or
they've
the
got something
PPUs.
coming out in 2030. It's a drug. It's in the trials in Japan right now. that literally you can give your dog, or you can take, if you've, like, say, went through, like, a woman has been through pregnancy and she had calcium deficiency and she lost her teeth. You can take this medicine. It isolates a protein. You take it and you grow your teeth back.
What?
Yes. Yep.
That can't be
It's
good.
it's some sort of, again, long COVID.
Crackheads on the move.
It's some sort
They're
of
coming up in the world.
It's some sort of RNA. The whole COVID thing. It's some sort of RNA thing. But they did trials on, I think, ferrets, and I want to say it was dogs or ferrets. It was successful in all those. They pushed it out to human trials, and they're going to market it for humans and animals, like for dogs who lose their teeth and things like that.
Sounds terrible, dude. You tried it on a ferret, I'm out.
It's like
Unless I can take one and it fixes my back.
I sit here and think back to the opening scene of I Am Legend with Will Smith, when the doctor's sitting there and says, "Well, you telling me that you've cured cancer? I mean, you did the trial and you've cured cancer. Out of how many patients, or how many patients were in the study?" I think it said 25,000 or something like that. I can't remember the verbal quote, but she said, out of all of those, how many were cured of cancer? 25,000. So you're telling us that you've cured cancer? Yes. And then the scene flashes to black, and it says, like, what, 25 or 10, 4 or 5 years later, and then, like, there's overgrowth in the middle of New York. And it's like, I believe honestly, and I know this sounds crazy, but I believe it can take one error like that, and that's how fragile of a species we are. It could just take one error like that.
And
It's called an atomic bomb.
Well, no, there's. I mean, if you just look at, and I won't mention it by name because I don't like for this one to go, but the thing that we just went through back in 2020.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's well established now that it's at least worth looking at the fact that it was probably engineered at some point, somehow, somewhere.
Controlled.
Okay. So, yes, there is no way of what was that other? It's all movies, I know, but there's some validity to it. One with a dude that was married to the chick that had a whole bunch of kids, and now they're not married, and Billy Bob Thornton's thing, and Angelina Jolie, that's her name. It was, what was her husband's? Brad Pitt. Oh, 7 Things of Kevin Bacon. All right, Brad Pitt. There we go. He was in that movie with the zombies. What was it?
World War Z.
Okay, so that one. There towards the end, when he figured out what it was.
Yes.
Okay, and he went to the lab, and they were telling him, you got to get that one. That one will make you deathly sick, but we can cure it because we know what it is, and we've manipulated it, and we've played with it. All them other ones, you're going to die. Okay. And all of that was stuff that was made, created, and whatever. And so, yes, absolutely, 100%. You start dabbling and playing with chemistry and biologicals, and you're going to take something from over here and you're going to mesh it with this. I mean, I know this isn't the proper episode to discuss it, but, there are botanists who create bushes of sort by taking something from over here, something from over here, and meshing it together, and look, it creates a whole new something that
We've done it with dogs.
We've done it with everything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, when you start dabbling with that and you don't know what it's going to do yet, or you could put one extra little blink and it completely changed the whole outcome of whatever that is that you're creating, then yeah, I mean, there's I 100% believe that there's some scary stuff out there that
I tell you a cliffhanger to leave you ending on that. Either somebody told me or saw it or both, vice versa, whatever. But you never go to a doctor. You never hear of a doctor turning down a patient. Every time you go to the doctor, there's something wrong with you. If a doctor start telling you, oh yeah, we have the cure for this. Yeah, we can fix that. Versus, hey, yeah, well, just take this and we'll get this prescribed to you and maybe it'll get better. Then we wouldn't have any doctors. They'd all be out of jobs. There's cures for most of everything we got going on. You got to think, if you ever get sick or anything you could think of, you go to the doctor, they've got some kind of treatment for it. You mean to tell me in all these years and all these times, especially in today's time, that you can't go to the doctor and they go, here, take this, it'll be gone in a week, you'll never have it again.
I'll give you a term that'll get you flagged real quick.
No, thanks.
Gain of function research.
Yeah.
There's your term.
Yep.
You can edit that out if you want to, but that's the term. I mean, that's what
Well, and that's I believe that might have led to why somebody just got pardoned the other
That
day.
is absolutely correct.
All right, so we will move on from the conspiracies and let's talk about some music. So part of what we're doing at Fancy's Unfiltered in 2025 is bringing local artists to you, and that's what we've done tonight with Justin and Tab Music, minus the Tab part because she's at home with the baby. So with that being said, our sponsor for this session is and always will be Bar Music Live, where the live music is at your fingertips by going to his website, barmusiclive.com, and you can check out all the local artists in your area, whether you're here in Coleman, Alabama, or you're in Florida, or you're in Ohio, or wherever. Maybe not Ohio just yet, but as soon as the word gets out, that's where we're going. That's where he's going. Barmusiclive.com, where you can get all your music information there. Go out, have a good night, support local artists. Discover the heartbeat of live music at barmusiclive.com, your ultimate destination for live performances, local bands, and unforgettable nights. Barmusiclive.com, connecting you to the music you love.
Gonna take a freight train down at the station long. Don't care where it goes. I'm gonna climb a mountain, the highest mountain. Jump off, nobody gonna know. Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? I'm gonna find me hole in the wall. I'm gonna crawl inside and die. 'Cause come late at night, that neat old woman, Lord, she never told me goodbye. Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? Gonna buy a ticket now, as far as I can. Ain't never coming back. Well, I'm going out southbound all the way to Georgia now, till the train run out of tracks. Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? Thank you, thank you.
Very good, sir.
And my clothes will come off right after this. Joking.
If you would like to subscribe to Fancy's Unfiltered and see all the behind the scenes efforts,
There's plenty of them. There's plenty of them. Let me tell you.
yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff that gets cut out that y'all don't even know about. Just like the AI in the background, you don't even know. I make it. So I appreciate it, sir. I'm glad you stopped by. We will make this work again when your other half can
Mama
be here.
Tab.
Yeah, without the cheerings. And I look forward to seeing you out in the open. Where can people find you up and coming next?
Okay, so you all can find us at Justin and Tab Music on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok. We're going to be playing at Busted Oak Bourbon Society in Albertville next Saturday. This coming Saturday. And just look at all our stuff on our socials, YouTube. Follow us there. We got a new song coming out called Voodoo Love Spell probably in the next 3 weeks. Ooh, so it's pretty excited about it. Pretty cool little song, and we're proud of it. Check out our new single Tear Down the Wall. It's available on all streaming services right now.
Awesome. It was very good to meet you, sir.
Good to meet you guys.
Justin
Appreciate
Tab
you.
Music. Make sure you find them. Look them up on all your socials, YouTube, Facebook, all the stuff. I watched most all his stuff on YouTube yesterday. It was pretty good. Listen to most of it. Been super busy. I didn't get to listen to all of it. Full transparency. But anyway, Justin Tab Music. Justin, glad you came by. We appreciate it. And you got anything else you want to talk about? Are you good?
Nah, you know me. Deuces.
See you guys on the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. If there's anything that you saw in this and you've made it to this far, what are you doing if you don't hit the like and subscribe button? Because if you've made it to this far, there's something that you apparently liked. I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to judge you for whatever it was. But if you've made it this far, go ahead and hit that like, comment, subscribe. We love you long time. Love you long time. See you next time.
Love you a long time.